Alright, let's start. So we'll start with glycoproteins. We'll just do a very quick rundown of glycoproteins. Harper's explained very detailed. We will do a brief surface overview, and I'm going to point out which topics or which points you need to be familiar with. Glycoproteins. So these are oligosaccharide chains covalently attached to their polypeptide backbone. If you look at this figure, there is the polypeptide backbone. That blue wavy line. And this is your oligosaccharide. This is a typical what? If you've done this last week. Huh? And link. Something to think about. I'm not going to be answering all the questions that I'm going to ask. If I don't answer them and you don't answer them, it might be a good exam question then. Alright. So this is found in Harper's. You just want to be familiar with maybe the first four. Okay. So structural roles. These are examples of some glycoproteins based on their function. So very commonly you have collagen, which serve a structural role, mucins, which serve lubricant and serve as a lubricant and protective agent. Of course, you'll have other glycoproteins. Some proteins you're not aware of, but then they are also glycoproteins. And this is also in Harper's. Just be familiar with the structure based on function. Now these are the oligosaccharide chain functions. This is also in Harper's. Now, there's a whole paragraph in Harper's explaining why they encode biologic information. And also what's important here to note is that they protect against proteolysis from inside and outside the cell. If you read Harper's, then you don't need to take notes. Just listen. So this is just a diagram showing the different attachments to the glycoprotein. So in this particular diagram, you'll have glycoproteins attached to your cellular membrane. So this is the cytosol. This is an attached glycoprotein. And you'll have these areas of attachment here. Like for this diagram, drawing, you have toxins, you have viruses, bacteria, and even cell-to-cell attachment through glycoproteins. Then you have how many sugars? You have 8. These are branched heteropolymers composed primarily of D hexoses, except which are not D hexoses among them. Well, we know this is 9, this is 5, these are simple, these are complex. Oh, this one is also 6, just lacking an oxygen. So, this is the sugar, this is the type, this is the abbreviation which we will be using, so these long words, and these are the, what do you call this? The nucleotide sugars, but what's the function? These are donors. And there's a last column here, row here in Harper's. Just read about the characteristics. Don't have to memorize them, just be familiar which ones are for O-link, which ones are for N-link, which ones are common for both, or for GPI. And these are the 3 major classes of glycoproteins. You have the O-glycosidic linkage or O-link, N-glycosidic linkage or N-link, and you have your GPI anchored or GPI link, which GPI. Don't worry, I'm not going to ask. I just want to move around, or else my blood vessels are going to clot.
Wow.
But oh, my group is here. What's GPI? I didn't know. GPI, grade point. I dropped this. GPI. Well, of course, I'm not going to ask what's GPI in the exam. That's too easy. Just be familiar what they are. So structurally, this is what it looks like. You have an amino acid backbone. This is your sugar attachment. And then you have all these other structures attached to that. the whole entire length of the amino acid. So for the O link, which we're going to discuss first, where's the bond? There, that's the O. And then for the N link, right there. What do you suppose the GPI link looks like? Is it simple? Is it complicated? Okay, so this is what GPI link looks like. So you have GPI stands for glycosyl phosphatidyl inositol, phosphate inositol, and this is the link. This is the part of fatty acid of this phosphatidyl inositol, and this is the typical format, and it's also linked to another protein, also called what? Sticky finger? Sticky foot, yeah. I don't know why, well, it says in Harvard, sticky foot. So you can further subclassify the O-glycosidic linkages into these four. But of course, you'll have others, but these four are the most common ones. So you'll have GalNAc, N-acetyl galactosidase, galactosamine. So this is a amino sugar. And either serine or threonine is the amino acid attachment you'll find usually in mucin. What's mucin? Where do you find this? From the nose? What about from the ears? Are these also mucin? Well, that was a question, but we're not going to answer that now. What about gal, style, sir? What is that? So you have two galactose. A xylose is what kind of sugar? And serine. Later on we discuss proteoglycans, you will know that this is the common link. Then of course we can discuss collagen later on, galactose and hydroxylysine. Hydroxy, note it down. And lastly you have nuclear cytosolic proteins with your GalNAc, N-acetylglucosamine, and either a serine or threonine residue. Mucin. What's common about, or what's characteristic about mucin? It's a high O-link oligosaccharide. So more than 50% of the mucin is carbohydrate or sugar. And they have repeating amino acid sequences, tandem repeats, like you will see here in these yellow boxes, in the center of their polypeptide backbone. So these yellow boxes are rich in serine, threonine, and proline. This is the carboxy end, it's the amino end of your polypeptide. Oh, read that. Function, physicochemical, biomedical. I think it's like 2 paragraphs now. Let's go to the biosynthesis of the O-link glycoprotein. There's a biosynthesis step by step, but these are the common or the salient features of that process. So you'll have, it says here that it's built up by stepwise addition of sugars from the nucleotide sugar, the donors, remember? What are the examples? For example, glucose. What's the donor for glucose? For GalNAc. Alright, and it involves glycoprotein glycosyl transferase. This is the enzyme acting also in a stepwise manner. So unlike the N-link, this O-link is medyo OC siya, step by step. And each transferase is generally specific for a particular type of linkage. You have enzymes involved. The enzymes involved are located in various compartments of the Golgi. And each glycosylation reaction involves appropriate nucleotide sugar. Okay, this is one of the characteristics which differentiate O-link and N-link. O-glycosylation occurs post-translationally at certain serine and threonine residues. Can you rephrase that? If I say N-glycosylation occurs co-translationally at asparagine. Very good. So let's not include that in the exams, you know it now. So, O-link. formation of the sugar donor, but did you also know that the sugar donor is a transporter for the sugar, but the sugar donor also has a transporter. So nisakay, until it gets, it donates, and then in the Golgi, and these are what I mentioned, the specific enzymes, then extruded from the Golgi. Let's go to N-link. So O-link, pretty much easy, step by step, enzymes. N-link is the more common one. So N-link, you have, what AS, oh, you already mentioned that, and the GLUT-NAC, so we don't have to spell that out anymore. You have three major subclasses. You have a complex, hybrid, and high mannose. Before it used to be just complex, then high mannose, and then now there's a hybrid. So this is what Harper represents to be complex, hybrid, and high mannose. Again, the amino acid is asparagine, and then the amino, the sugar link or the amino sugar is GLUT-NAC. These are the common. What do you call these? How many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? That's a pentasaccharide, right? Is this simple or complex? It's complex because these two are amino sugars. And these are what differentiate them all. High mannose, of course, lots of mannose residues. In the complex, we have these two. At the end, sialic acid, which is, what is sialic acid? Alright, and a mixture, a hybrid of these two will form your hybrid. Just like that. I don't think you need to memorize which is beta 1,4, which is alpha 1,6, which is, or should we? Okay. Yeah, it's not going to help you anyway in your medical career. What's the, what's it meant to be beta 1,4 ganyan? Sakit. Alright, so. This is what happens when sugar, when you know, later on we'll discuss it step by step, but for this diagram, you just know that these are the sugars, these are the enzymes, and this is dolicol. Dolicol later on is very significant when you discuss N-link. And later on, you'll see that this is a cytosolic space, ER. You'll see a flip. Cytosol, and then flips inside to the ER, and then flips back again, and then flips back again, until you form that sugar, dolicol, what do you call this, molecule. That's for the sugar. But this, later on, you'll know that the dolicol is the one that's going to provide this oligosaccharide to your. So we mentioned code translationally. This is what happened earlier, the dolicol of the sugar. So as the ribosomes are making or translating your amino acid, then the dolicol will also give this oligosaccharide attachment to the asparagine as the amino acid is being translated. And later on, it's going to be extruded into Golgi, and you'll have these whatever modifications you have. Trimming, addition. Now, in later figures, you will see that there are different parts of the Golgi. You will have a cis, a medial, and a trans, which you'll need to maybe understand. Okay? So we've done that, translation, and then the Golgi. What happens after the Golgi? You see, these are secreted in vesicles from the ribosomes, the ER to the Golgi outward. So they form vesicles with the glycoprotein attached to these vesicular membranes. And later on, they'll either form lysosomes, which is to stay inside, or they will be incorporated into your cellular membrane with the oligosaccharide facing extracellularly. Summary of the N-link. This is also in Harper's. So what's significant here? Transferred by dolicol PP. What's PP? Pyrophosphate. What do you mean by pyrophosphate? It's like a diphosphate. Similar. And then this is the enzyme inhibited by tunicamycin. Remember which type? Is it for dolicol formation? Yeah. Is it tunicamycin? Dolicol?
No, inhibition.
then transfer occurs specific asparagine residues in the sequence asparagine X, serine or threonine, where X stands for either anything except proline, asparagine, aspartate, and glutamate. So again, co-translationally, this is significant. Don't bother about this last one anymore. Protein-bound oligosaccharides is partially processed by glucosidases and mannosidases. But if no additional sugars are added, this becomes your high mannose. Addition or subtraction by these enzymes will form your hybrid or your complex. Factors affecting glycosylation. You have the presence of suitable acceptor sites in your protein, tissue levels of tolyl P, and activity of the oligosaccharide protein transferase. This is the generic, format, but of course you have a specific oligosaccharide, you have a specific protein. Eye cell disease. Remember I said that these are transmitted in vesicles, they are packaged from the ER to the cytosol. So in eye cell disease, there's a problem in the phosphorylation of mannose. So it's here. So it cannot form this, it can't be extruded. So you form what? The inclusion bodies. Caused by deficiency of the ability to phosphorylate mannose, characterized by skeletal abnormalities, restricted joint movement, coarse facial features, and severe psychomotor impairment. That usually occurs by 8 years of age. So you won't find any old or medical students who have eye cell disease. So this is what is said in Harper, what's stated here. So it's a gene mutation. This is the mutant enzyme, and it says lack of normal transfer of GlucNAC1P to specific mannose residues in certain enzymes destined for the lysosome. So there's a lacking mannose 6-phosphate, and then they are extruded instead of targeted to the lysosomes. And you'll have these inclusion bodies, thus the eye cell or inclusion cell disease. They actually interfere with the function of your lysosomes. GPI link. So there's what GPI stands for. GPI. So the basic composition, you should know what are the basic compositions of the GPI. And these are some examples of GPI linked proteins. So you have, these are what? There's an enzyme found in your red cell membrane. Later on we will discuss this when we talk about PNH. Heard about PNH? Okay. And certain enzymes, certain antigens, also in Harper's. If you try to love Harper's, maybe you'll not have a hard time. It's very hard to love Harper's. So, again, if you look at the structure here, this is your plasma membrane. What is this? PLC. What's PI? PI. Phosphatidylinosytol. PLC is phospholipase C. Right. So inositol here, glucosamine. You have 3 mannose attached to a phosphate group, and you have ethylamine, and the glycine is the one that's attached to the protein at the carboxy end of that protein. This is just another diagram, same thing, but except there's no fatty acid here. More or less the same. Oh, here we go. PNH, paroxysmal nocturnal hemoglobin. Hemoglobin is found in urine, hemolysis of red cells, particularly during sleep. Now, can you tell me why there's a drop in plasma when you're sleeping? Position. What about position? How does position influence plasma pH?
I'm right.
Any idea? Any brave one who wants to try?
I'm not brave enough.
If you answer, I'll give you 3 questions tomorrow. To the person who answers, I'll give you the letter of the answer. Not tomorrow. understand while you're answering. I'll just go near that.
Whoa!
No one wants that.
Alright. That's nice. It's like a prank,
You said
though.
decreased respiration. Then what happens if you have increased respiration? Meaning inhalation and do you want those points? What happens? You expire less. You retain more CO2. What happens to CO2 in the plasma? Folic acid, carbonic acid, okay, carbonic acid. What the enzyme?
It's respiratory acidosis.
So you get the chain now. So an increased plasma pH makes your RBC susceptible to lysis by the complement system. Of course, unless you're a medtech, you're not, or maybe biology or major, not very familiar with the complement system. There's a lot of steps. For now, you just know that it can cause lysis of red cells. And of course, here, the main mutation is in the big A gene. What's big?
Pig.
And these are the proteins. Remember earlier we mentioned about DAF? Where was that? Here's DAF, decay accelerating factor, also in red cell membranes. So here the proteins are DAF and CD59. What's CD? Cluster of div. Read that. Just know that for Harper. That is just a law for how we explained earlier. Synthesis, anchors, the protein, lysis because of complement. Now I'm sure you've read about advanced glycation end products. You know the difference between glycation and glycosylation. It's stated in Harvard, right? What's the diff? Two answers. I'll give you two free answers.
Addition is glycation and glycosylation is enzymatic and glycation is not enzymatically.
You want to help him? You want to help Mr. Nico? What's an example of a glycation process? It's in Harvard. Or maybe you're just scared to say it. It's highlight, it's bold, it's naked. I'll give you 2 points if you're in the 5 p.m. room on Thursday. So, this is, but if you're
for the boys?
in, what's the other room, histo? I can't go to histo room. So, glucose, glycated,
Only for the biochem room.
So you have hemoglobin. If it's attached to glucose, you have a, what do you call this? When it's combined? Shift base. Who said? Skip?
Shift.
Shift base. And undergoes an amatory rearrangement, and you'll have your
Why are you laughing?
ketoamines or your.
Because shift base sounds like shift base.
This is still an amatory end product. And later on, you'll have your HS, advanced glycation end product. Why is this significant? So why do we have to learn this? Because glucose, you'll know, these agents are very harmful to the body. So when you have high glucose in what disease states? Very commonly diabetes type 2 or type 1. You have your shift base, which is produced within a matter of hours or days, and then your amatory products, days to weeks. An example of your amatory product is hemoglobin A1C. This is used to help determine the level of glucose control in diabetic patients. And lastly, from weeks to months, you'll form your evil products already. CML, pyridine, oxidine. These are the ones that are harmful to the body. Never mind that. Just skim through this na lang, but don't eat this by heart. Especially what is NFKB? Nuclear factor, what did the K stand for?
Kappa B.
Kappa what? 4 words. And B is of course B cell. Okay, we're done.